Hello everyone, this is Mai.
Hey guys, my name is Dovey.
Thank you for joining my
Yeah, sure.
YouTube channel. And so actually, Japanese main players follow your Twitter.
Oh really? So I
Yeah.
didn't know I have like Japanese followers, and so
You have many.
oh my god. Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm not really global.
Yeah, you are. And so your insight is always very quick and so helpful us. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And I'm very honored to you're here.
No, like it's all for you, Mike, because Mike is one of my favorite, just like female leader and figure, like crypto figure out there, and so I think it's really amazing that how you just single-handed and then like uplifting the entire Japanese like Bitcoin community, and so we should thank you for that. Like yeah, it's like anytime at your service, and so that's all good.
Thank you so much. So as I mentioned that so many main Japanese players know about you, but so please introduce by yourself for
Yep.
the Japanese community.
Yeah, sure. Okay, hi, all the friends from like Japan. So my name is Dovey Wan, and I'm a crypto investor like for last 5 years, and so I'm founding partner of Primitive Ventures, and which is a global crypto asset holding company, and we have offices here in San Francisco. Here we are at one of the most beautiful like park and garden in like downtown San Francisco, and it's the best weather of the year. And we have offices in San Francisco, Boston, Singapore, and Shanghai as well. And so I was born and raised back in China, and just mainland China. And so I was there for like 20 years, and I moved to US about 10 years ago. And so for my master's degree in like Carnegie Mellon University, and so I major in software engineering and information system. And then like afterwards, so I moved to Bay Area as a product manager, so at eBay. So I spent 4 years at eBay. And about another 3 years, so 4 years as a generic, like so it's a generic venture capitalist, and like that's when I discovered like Bitcoin, crypto, and Silk Road, and like all that, and so like that's how I got into like crypto basically. And yeah, so I've been doing a lot of investments like ever since, and then like helping Bitcoin development, and just independent Bitcoin founding, and yeah, so like I'd love to talk more about China, and I know little about Japan, so I learned everything about Japan from Mai, and so like she's my go-to person, and like she's so sweet. Yeah, so like just like ping me on Twitter or DM me on Twitter on anything that you want to know about China or like even US. I think I can tell a little bit more about both. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so recently you talk about the China situation on your Twitter.
Yep.
And so today I have 3 questions. So first, I want to talk about DCEP.
Yep.
Yeah. And
So basically, the question is, so DCEP is actually what the acronym for the Chinese digital renminbi. Like renminbi is the Chinese local currency, and just like Japanese yen. Like DCEP actually stands for the DCEP actually stands for digital currency electronic payment. And so the reaction among like the ordinary people, like the ordinary Chinese people, and I think I'm not sure about Japan, because like back in China, like it's already cashless, right? So
Yes.
everybody just use WeChat Pay,
WeChat,
Alipay,
Alipay, yeah.
and then so I have my phone case like this, and people are always just like don't know why I need this strap, and then so basically so I use this as my phone case because I don't need to bring anything. Yeah, so like people always ask like why you need to have this strap like on your phone case, because like back in China, so I can simply just like have my phone like crossbody, and I don't need to bring anything. So I don't need to bring my purse with me. Like there's no credit card, and there's no cash, and so like Chinese average citizen has been on this cashless system, like just this cashless system, for about last like 3-5 years, and so people are very used to electronic payment, right? So that is the second part of this DCEP. Like EP stands for electronic payment. So that is like the second part of the DCEP, right? Because EP stands for electronic payment. When it comes to DC, so the digital currency, and like the digital currency is not the same as digitization of currency. So digitization of currency is just like what PayPal, Alipay has been doing. But what's specific about this digital currency, or like digital renminbi is, everything gonna become M0. So if you know how like the monetary supply work is, we have the monetary base. So that is the M0. So basically, everything issued by the central banker, right? So it's everything issued by the central bank. And right now, the system is a fractional reserve system, like which means all the commercial bank, they can actually issue more currency, like based on fractional reserve. So majority of the monetary supply is actually issued by the commercial bank, but not the central bank. So back in China, like the central bank is PBOC, so People's Bank of China. So PBOC, they have like a long-term issue is there's a lot of this like what we consider as shadow banking business. Like shadow banking business right now surpass like 10 trillion US dollar back in China. Things like peer-to-peer lending and things like wealth management product, and then things like AMP, things like that. And so it's way over 10 trillion US dollar. And then it's about 30% of the Chinese M2 monetary supply. And then all this shadow banking business is out of control and then like out of visibility of the Central Bank of China. And because it is not M0, right? So basically issuing this digital currency or digital RMB, the fundamental difference is this part of the monetary supply gonna be full reserve, gonna be M0. So like the Chinese government and like the Chinese central bank, they will have a better like visibility about like how the money is flow and things like that. And then like what's more important is like they can actually program the monetary policy. Like say for instance, we have like different sectors of our, so we have like different sectors of our economy. We have the real estate market, we have the stock market, we have like the bond market, say for instance, right? And once like let's consider everything become just digital, right? Everything becomes this like M0, like digital monetary supply. And what the Chinese central bank can do is they can simply program if they want to cool down like the housing market, say for instance, because like the housing prices has been going up like for like last like 10 years, right? So if they want to cool down the housing market, they can actually program the monetary policy and then immediately to just hold like a portion of the money from flowing into that sector. So basically this is the future of this is the future of like how central banker can use this layer of like technology to program monetary policy at like a national level. And I think that is the two primary reasons that why Chinese government like wants to issue this like DCEP, like just the digital currency, electronic payment. When it comes to the reaction for ordinary Chinese people, there's not much difference, like to be honest. It's just like cash. Because ordinary Chinese people, they don't use physical cash anymore, right? It has been like that like for a while. So from user interaction and just user interface perspective, there's no much difference.
Yeah, I understand.
So it is just the backend. Alipay and WeChat Pay is like the backend is actually the commercial bank, and then so now the backend become like the central bank, like become the digital renminbi, and so I think other than that, like the actual retail experience, like there's not a lot different. Like that's my personal opinion.
I understand. As far as my memory is correct, in China, so the Chinese people can't buy Bitcoin.
Yeah. So okay, there's no legality about. So okay, holding Bitcoin is legal, basically like Bitcoin is an asset. Like holding Bitcoin is okay. So if I have Bitcoin on my wallet, so that's fine.
Okay.
And buying Bitcoin, it is not illegal. Like there's no legality about it. Okay. But if you trade Bitcoin, so it's kind of like gray area right now because there's no clear there's no clear legislation about anything about Bitcoin. Okay. So what China has banned is all this like ICO, basically initial coin offering, IO, things like that. So like that's what China has banned. But the thing is like there's a lot of the other way to get around it. So like there's still many Chinese ICO and IO, like basically ongoing, like even after the 2017 ban. And then even exchanges, there's some exchanges shut down, but Huobi, OK, and Gate, and they're actually still around, and they're like thriving, operating in mainland China, and then it's all good. They're like growing really fast actually. So I think so, to be honest, and then so it's pretty easy for like local Chinese like to have access like to have access to Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. The Bitcoin local liquidity is really good because technically speaking, 80-70% of the Bitcoin is actually made in China, right? Mm-hmm. Miners are there, right? So yeah. China has a very good Bitcoin supply because Bitcoin is 80% made in China. So I think there's no issue for like local Chinese citizen to buy Bitcoin. There's a lot of like OTC and even smaller agent selling Bitcoin and even peer-to-peer, and then they can always go to Huobi, OK, Gate like through OTC. Mm-hmm. Like that's more like peer-to-peer manner. So I think there's like it's like a misunderstanding and like just a misperception on there's nothing, so there's no crypto, like there's no Bitcoin back in China, but no, Bitcoin has has been thriving, and the Bitcoin adoption and as well as like the Chinese awareness on Bitcoin has been growing fast, and exchanges are doing great, they're thriving, they're hiring more people, they're even expanding outside China. So like things are great there actually. And then miners are keep mining, and like all the hash rate are still relatively centralized in local, Sichuan, Yunnan, and then Inner Mongolia, Xinjiang. So I don't think there's like a material like significant impact like after the 2017 ban. Like there's like a few months, and I would say, so if you remember like 2017, like so it's like 2017, so September the 4th, and like that's when like the announcement was out, like that regulatory announcement was out, and I think just for like a 2 months and everything just recovered. It's only after 2 months, everything recovered, and we had all-time high at the early January 2018. Like nothing changed, and like people are still happy, and
Okay, so now Xi Jinping said positive things about blockchain. Mm-hmm. And I think that from this announcement, so Chinese people will be more interested in blockchain and also cryptocurrency. What do you think?
Yeah, so like basically this time, so presidency this is the highest level, so it's the highest level promotion and like the most significant PR for like blockchain as a technology. But like keep in mind that so like presidency has like a very long talk about like blockchain, right? And then so it's like we have to seize the opportunity, like we have to gain leadership position of like this specific of like this new cutting edge tech, but he didn't mention a single word about Bitcoin or like any cryptocurrency or like anything about the true decentralized aspect of the real public blockchain, right? So my personal take of this is, yes, it's definitely like elevating the priority of like blockchain like to the other technology like AI and like 5G, because we all have this national priority of like different technologies, right? And then so previously it is AI and like 5G, and then now we are adding like blockchain. onto the priority list. And so it's definitely significant. So like that's why we have seen like the search result from Baidu, WeChat, like just a spike for like 10x and like overnight, right? And then so everybody start like looking for like what is a blockchain and like learn about blockchain. And the emphasis is definitely on blockchain. But from the Chinese government's perspective, blockchain is more as a independent, neutral database management technology, right? Like if you think about what blockchain is, right? So it's actually a ledger. So it's actually a ledger management system, right? So that is also like the stand for many like Chinese governors out there. It's a neutral technology. There's nothing like special about it. It's just like so it's basically something that potentially can make our financial infrastructure like more efficient. And then like what's more important is, and I think they're building this narrative. So they're building the narrative and then also mentally prepare, both mentally, financially, and then politically prepare like the entire nation for the upcoming like digital renminbi, right? That is actually the most like the highest priority out there. So like in order to make the digital renminbi like more accepted among Chinese citizens, they have to talk about blockchain, right? Because it is built on blockchain, even though it's a public chain, not like a public chain. So even though it's a private chain, like not a public chain. So I think it's more about mental preparation, and it's more about it's more about mental preparation, and it is also like a signal and message like to the local governments and then also to the private sector, like all the other corporations, that you guys should actually invest and then like also prepare and then also like try to prepare like just like good enough talent for like this type of thing. And then because it can be major as a financial infrastructure, like especially like this digital renminbi system is out, right? So I think it's like Chinese has been, so it is actually very, very common because like whenever Chinese government like wants to allocate major resources on a new technology sector, like artificial intelligence, like 5G, like just solar energy, so they will always have this like president level message first, and then as like a global, so like as like a national level rally and campaign saying, okay, we should push for this. So they don't overread because so far there's nothing about Bitcoin, right? But I think there will definitely be indirect benefit about people's awareness on Bitcoin because like when you learn about blockchain, and you have to learn about the history of blockchain, right? So that's when you have to learn about Bitcoin, right? So I think there will be indirect like influence and just a mindshare like growth for people on Bitcoin. So that's definitely like a net positive for the whole industry. Long term wise, and I think like the China's like national blockchain initiative gonna end up kind of like differently than many Western people thought. And so I think there might be a petition between the Chinese version blockchain and and then rest of the world, and like just like the Chinese internet has this like great firewall, right? And so there always this partition, and that's what we always said that is something with Chinese characteristic. It's like something special. It's like some Chinese specialty about that specific thing that's like growing within China and developed within like China. So like that is actually my take, and then so we will see what they actually release.
So because it is good timing that Jihan came back to BITMAIN, because now in China, blockchain very positive about blockchain, and so I think it's very good timing Jihan came back to BITMAIN.
Yeah. So like the BITMAIN power struggle, like I'm not sure how to correlate the timing here, and there might be it might be one of the factors, but I think essentially it's just a power struggle between two co-founders, and then who has who has like different opinion, and then who has a different like who has a different take on the future. So the future direction of the company is just a little bit. It's just a little bit just like out of expectation, because usually this power struggle will not be so public, right? Usually it's kind of under the table, and then we can sit down and talk about it. We can negotiate and things like that. This time is just very drastic. It's just very intense, and that's also out of the expectation of everybody, because I never thought that such thing can happen in like a business setup. So it's more like from like a Godfather movie or like a TV series, or even like political. So I think it might be common in like political setup, right? And so like the army just overtake the existing power, whatever. But like this is actually business setup. So that's what makes that's so I think like that's what makes it extremely dramatic. I personally don't know like how this correlate with the current, like the China's like national blockchain promotion. I think it might be one of the reasons, and like the other reason is because the other co-founder always wants to do AI, and then like Jihan is more like crypto native.
I see.
Yeah, Jihan is very crypto native, and then so he's actually so I really respect Jihan, because he at the very beginning, like he has been relatively idealistic and be a like libertarian, and then like also has been always auditing crypto, and his co-founder is more into AI and then more into things that's probably like non-crypto, and I think that's where just the disagreement started, and then there's probably the other detail that we don't know, and then who knows, and because human ego, and then probably there's some other fight that we have no idea, like back in the history, and like we don't know. But I think it's just the chapter 1 of BITMAIN drama. There will be definitely there will be definitely like chapter 2.
But Jihan already have many drama before, so
right.
maybe this is chapter 3 or 4.
Right. So
and continue.
Yeah. So like at least for us, and it's like a very interesting time to just sit down and have popcorn and like and I think also it's a very good opportunity for like many other minor company, for like many other AC manufacturers, like to capture this opportunity, and I really hope that if possible, like Jihan can get over it, because the mining industry, we need competition, right? I don't want BITMAIN die completely, because like if BITMAIN die, and there will be the other BITMAIN, right? And I think it's better for the industry to be more decentralized, and then to be more fragmented, and then so we can have like good enough like competitors, and people because like right now it's pretty much monopoly type of setup for like the miners. It's only BITMAIN, like Canon and eBay and like WhatsMiner, whatever. I think we basically just want more players get into the space. So the more player there are, and like the more options we have, and then so the healthier the mining industry gonna be.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's true. Yes. So
Okay.
Jihan's drama will be to be continued.
Yeah, to be continued. Yeah.
Yeah, so our industry's drama
Only
will
season
continue.
1. Like no, this
No?
might be season 2 actually. Season 1 is the BCH fork. Like
Yes,
this is season
right.
2 actually.
Yes.
And there will be season 3, and we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
You said thank you for watching.
watching.
And by the way, so because I'm a huge fan for Japanese like anime, if you guys have any good recommendation, so my current favorite is Attack on Titan, and then also Lelouch. Like I used to like Lelouch a lot, and then huge fan on Gundam series, and I have a lot of like Gundam model like.
Oh,
I might have,
really?
yeah, seriously. And yeah, so if you guys have any good recommendation, just let me know on Twitter, and then if you know what is the possible ending of Attack on Titan, and then what Alan gonna become, and let me know. And I really want to, just like brainstorm with you guys because I have my theory on the Titan as well. And yeah, thank you for watching.
Yeah, and so you should to follow her Twitter. So yes, and so please tell her about please tell her any recommendation about Japanese anime.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, guys.
Bye. Thank you.